Hey guys, welcome back to Revenge of the Action Movie.
It gets right up into revenges your butt.
It's so fucking manly!
And as you'll notice, we put a lot of time into this production. This blank wall represents the actor we're talking about today, Steven Seagal, and his personality.
Minimalist.
It's fine. I feel like it's good. Yeah, and we're also not waiting to be processed at the local police department for lewd behavior.
They're like, fuck it, dude, we got brought in on charges. Let's just get our video done here. Multitask.
It looks like Sergeant O'Hara is fucking filming for us. Thanks, Sergeant.
Fuck you and die.
Here we go, Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal. I mean, he's been called a lot of things, okay? He's called the ponytail smasher, the fists of furies, the kicks no way Jose, and then most recently, the Krispy Kreme annihilator.
I never miss.
Steven Seagal is apparently a huge dick face, McGregorton.
I wouldn't say it to his face.
No.
Whoop the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
he hit you so hard your mother will fall.
And then he'd fuck up your house and be like, I say we're close on renovations. I say 2 weeks.
Yeah, dude.
That's fucking bad. But he slammed John Leguizamo up against a wall. There's all the sexual assault allegations, all that stuff like that. But the thing is, during this time, man, in the 90s, in the early 90s, Steven Seagal was the fucking man. This was the day where just a badass action hero, you put him in a movie, and he was the draw, and that's all you needed.
Look, all I want from you, Steven, is I want bullets, I want broken bones, and I want you to talk softly in a weird voice. You've got it.
But do you want to be great? I say yeah. I want to be great.
Nonetheless, this channel is about celebrating 80s and 90s action movies and the characters that they played. So don't get it twisted. It's just like with Tom Cruise. You know, everybody wants to give Tom Cruise shit for the person that he is in real life, but on the movie screen, he's Tom fucking Cruise, man. And the characters they play are what it's all about. And Steven Seagal, character-wise, is one of the most badass, and you could even argue the most badass on-screen persona of all time.
And there will always be that debate, who would win, Van Damme versus Seagal in their prime. I don't know, man. Back in the day, I would say Seagal would whoop that fucking ass, make that pretty boy not so pretty anymore. But then after finding out some more stuff about Seagal and whether or not, throwing some shade on what he might and might not have done, and one guy joking about me pooped his pants, and Van Damme is legit. Van Damme is a legit fucking medal winner. Van Damme might have fucked his ass up. I don't know. And based on what Stallone said at that party that happened, that Van Damme called him out, and Seagal went down the street to the bar and was talking about his movies. I don't know what happened, but he didn't confront him. Either way, Seagal is badass.
How much money would you pay to watch that show?
Oh, dude, like $90.
Seagal versus Van Damme.
If that was on pay-per-view, like, it'd be better than that Hugh McGregor bullshit we got with Mayweather.
Yeah, dude. But and we gotta make a whole video about that. Like, who would actually win in a fight?
You have to go through all
Van Damme and Seagal. I don't know, because Van Damme is a counterpuncher. Yeah. He's a counterpuncher. That's the whole Aikido style. If you watch in these movies, he's always like, come on.
Yeah. Well, come and cut my heart out. Okay? Come and cut my heart out.
You don't see him attack a lot.
But Van Damme can kick you like a swan from far away.
Yeah. It's I don't know who the fuck would win, but that's a whole nother video. But Hard to Kill, let's get the fuck into it. So, in Hard to Kill, this movie's fucking weird, man. It's really fucking weird. It's one of the best Steven Seagal movies out there. It absolutely is.
It was also his second movie.
He's out in the streets, and he's basically Batman and Batman Begins. He's basically Batman and Batman Begins. He's watching this. These political people have this deal go down with these mobsters. And he's like, yo, Caprizi says he's going to get on a plane. We don't want that plane to land. And you hear this politician's voice in the background, who's William Sadler of all people.
William Sadler is one of the best bad guys ever. Like, he was also good in Die Hard 2. He was a good bad guy in that too.
Exactly. When he opens up with his butt cheeks on the screen.
You can take that to the bank.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
The blood bank. But yeah, so good. No, but and William Sadler himself, dude. Like, William Sadler he's a great actor. I love him. He was in The Grudge, which we just this house is good. He was in The Grudge that we just watched. But he's a great actor. But he is underused in this. Basically, he appears on screen from time to time as a politician screaming at people or doing background deals with mobsters. And basically, all he does the entire movie is goes, "You can take that to the bank."
Yeah, well, he's an assemblyman that he wants to cause a crash for another senator so he can take the place of them and become a senator. That's what he wants to do. I mean, it's a very basic idea of a plot. And you see, like, even Seagal, when he's recording a conversation, has to have a goddamn microphone that looks like a sniper rifle because he's badass. He's like, come on guys, I'm missing the Oscars. And by the way, it's a perfect time for doing it because the Golden Globes just happened.
And nobody even watches the fucking Oscars. But for some reason in this movie, the first shot you got is Seagal out there with his camera. He's like, come on guys, I'm missing the Oscars. And then he goes to a fucking shitty gas station. He's like, hey, you gonna watch the Oscars?
Let's go, guys. I'm missing the Oscars. So, how come you're not watching the Oscars tonight?
The Oscars?
Yeah, the Oscars.
I hate the Oscars.
After he gets what he needs from Sadler and crew, and they're fucking like, and then like, I thought you said the stock was clean. And he's like, I'll get it. And then he runs away or whatever.
I love the quick shot, by the way. They go really quick to Seagal running, and he's like...
Every time Seagal like runs, he looks like a little girl running and telling the teacher that someone pulled her pigtails.
You've got Tom Cruise's run, which is this right here, and then but Steven Seagal's run is he doesn't use his arms. He's too cool to use his arms. He keeps them down at his sides, and he's so slender and so quick in his movement. You know, he calls in the thing. He's like, yeah, I've got a tape for you. It's gonna be awesome. But I love when they clip to him in the car. But the gas station scenes, it could be the coolest scene of the whole fucking movie.
It looked
man.
cool. I mean, it was badass.
He walks in and he's going to get some champagne and a little monkey teddy bear for his kid because he's a good fucking guy. And then these dudes come in.
Typical fucking bad guys.
Looks like you grew some hair, man, since we last seen you. Yeah, but not a lot, eh? Where's the rug?
I mean, he's wearing a bandana. One guy's got like a hairnet, and he's fucking. They carry a shotgun. It's like these guys are literally bad guys. That's why as soon as Seagal seems like, you better call the police.
Where's the goddamn cop when you need one, huh?
Well, if they're out eating donuts, get off.
I got half a mind to get out there and burst your...
It towards Seagal, and then Seagal has one of the most badass Seagal moments he's known for.
Well, you know, it's only 4 of you guys, and you only have 1 shot left in here.
He walks into the gun, which is stupid, by the way, because you just watch this guy shoot somebody. He obviously has no qualms about sticking you.
Seagal doesn't care. His ponytail will help.
You know?
The very last scene when the one asshole guy with all tatted up, he's the last guy. He's like, I'm gonna cut your fucking heart out. He's like, come cut my heart out.
What was he doing with that fucking knife, by the way? He was like, he looked like he was trying to screw in a high-up portrait.
He looked like Obi-Wan Kenobi trying to have a duel with Anakin. Like fucking like he was like, come my heart out. Come out.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Mine's bigger than yours, right? It's not fair. Throw it away. All right? Come on.
And then he gets like, I'll get on my knees. You know what? I'll get on my knees. It
So badass.
It felt like like one of those moments with your stepdad outside when he wanted to show you who's boss.
Still not fair, that's right. Okay, how about this? I'll get down on my knees. Is this any better? Come and get some. Come and get some.
He takes his ankle like he's gonna steal his fucking shoes and just rips his ankle in half, fucks the dude up, and one more mention of the Oscars, dude. The cops show up, they're like, hey, you know who won the Oscars tonight? It was Mason's fucking Storm.
Looks like you won the Oscar tonight, Storm. Coming up.
He kicks 4 dudes' asses in a gas station stand-up, and he goes home and just makes himself a fucking turkey sandwich. Doesn't even mention it to his wife. His wife, of course, is just dressed up and waiting for him to come home and
That's when you know you've reached ultimate level.
Yeah, she's just waiting for him to come home. He goes, they have the touching father-son moment, which is not touching at all, because it's just, it literally feels like Steven Seagal touching someone else's kid.
That's
it's
what
like,
I'm saying.
I love you.
That's literally, it's not his kid. Like,
Yeah.
he was like, you were adopted, I'll do this goddamn prayer with you, but fuck
Go
you.
to sleep, Tommy. Go to sleep.
I gotta go fuck your mother. They get up there and they start having the sexuals. The bad guys break in.
And he does it in the same way he fights. He's like,
That's what you do in the 90s. That's what you do if you're an action star.
Yeah, the bad
But yeah,
guys.
moving on, then you go from the sex scene to the actual part where it gets like action stuff, and then you get to the point where the bad guys break in, and this is where fucking Seagal's ego is fucking insanely, it's like, again, a fucking shotgun blast to this motherfucker can't take him down. Like they break the fucking door in, and he's sitting there, and he starts shooting one of them, and then they shoot him with he didn't even really make a grunt, like a sound I've heard. He's like, like in fact, you just got shot with a shotgun, like almost point blank, and you're like, oh, and he's like, and he keeps coming back for it, and then they're like, they shoot him again, and he's like, but he's not. That's 2 shotgun blasts to your fucking shoulder. It should be disintegrated. Your fucking stomach. And he's looking over at his wife. Is like, I can move off this.
I can take it.
I can do this.
I can take it.
And then she's like, no. And then she gets shot. And then he falls over.
He does release some actor's emotion in that scene.
I kind of like that part, though. Honestly, I know it was cheesy, but it was kind of like, yeah, it was like the guy didn't even want it. Like he was like, it's kind of fucked up. They were in the middle of having some bunk, and then we walked in here and shot him in the fucking chest and his wife. But his kid, the little kid, like gets up and to investigate. And why the fuck would you do? Run out the window, like get out the fucking window first. But he wants to go see what's wrong with mommy and daddy. And these fucking guys in ski masks, it's like kill that fucker. And then they start. By the way, that kid has some goddamn Daredevil moves.
He's got some Home Alone in him.
He was ducking down and he was nothing was hitting him. He had the Matrix in him or something. He jumps out the window, runs away. Then you cut to the hospital. The girl, the wife is dead. Seagal he is declared dead. Mason Storm is dead, and you get introduced to O'Malley, his friend and partner from IA.
Dude, O'Malley is the best movie friend of all time. Like he is the just best fucking friend. Not only does he have the face of a goddamn golden retriever, but he's so good. Like when they wheel him in, the other cops are talking shit about him because the bad guys planted cocaine and shit in Mason Storm's house. Which, by the way, how fucking cool is the name Mason Storm?
I mean, like, I think it feels like Seagal picked that name out.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
he picked that shit out himself for sure. But they're like, yeah. So they always said Mason was unstoppable because he was fucking coked up all the time. And O'Malley dives across the room.
I'm gonna tell you something. That was the cleanest man I ever knew. He had more honor and guts than this whole department put together. If I ever hear you talk that puke again, I'll lose my shield to put you where you belong.
The fuck is IA doing here at this hour?
So basically, you've got the lethal weapon thing where it's like, hey, they think we're dead. We've got the best advantage of all. Because Mason Storm's declared dead, but he's not. But they keep it secret because O'Malley goes in. He tells the doctors or whatever. He's like, nobody needs to know that he's alive. So the fact that he's still alive is a total secret. And then 7 years later, he's still in a coma and he's grown a nice beard.
And the chick from Weird Science is taking care of him. She's hot as fuck.
Kelly LeBron.
She is hot.
Steven Seagal's wife in real life, by the way, at that point.
And that didn't last, obviously.
It did not.
But anyhow, she made him look like goddamn Confucius. Like he looked like the Chinese fucking representation of everything he wanted to do in China. He had a fucking big job. It wasn't even a good beard. Like she fucking shaved that shit down and looked like Confucius with his long hair, or Jesus trying to be retro in the fucking leather bound days. Like he just looked like Confucius.
I thought he looked pretty handsome.
Oof. And then he
looked like Gene Simmons.
I mean, I always say he looked handsome because I was scared of him. But
he looked like Gene Simmons, man. That's what he looked like. But he looked like Gene Simmons when he was hungover.
So he's been laying out there, and he's been like considered John Doe, and the instructions that O'Malley had left that if he ever were to wake up, to contact him only directly and no one else. But unfortunately, O'Malley didn't know he was going to be fucking retiring and didn't leave a Ford address or some shit. Like that's what you think would happen, like, and not just be like, oh, use the same number.
Yeah.
Like it makes zero sense.
And we'll get to what happened there later on down the line. But I do love that scene because she's attracted to it. Even though he's this dude who's in a coma, she's attracted to him, and the other nurses know it too. And she goes over to talk to him at one point, and she like rubs his head, and she's like, she lifts up the sheet and looks at his dick.
Yeah.
She looks at his dick, and she's like, but you've got so much to live for. I'm like, that's illegal as fuck, by the way.
That's a huge dick.
You can't just look at people in comas' dicks.
Besides, you've got so much to live for. Please wake up.
I mean, I think you have to.
I don't think that's illegal.
Because you bathe them or whatever, but I don't think you can gaze upon their dicks longingly.
I mean, if you're gonna say you're examining the patient, I don't. She didn't touch it. She didn't like grabbing jacket.
I love that Seagal's like, because and initially Seagal apparently helped write this film, but he wasn't given credit for writing. But you know that he wrote that character. He's like, I want my character to have a huge penis. I do like when he's waking up from his coma and they do like the shots back to when he died.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
and that honestly, that's the best part of this entire story is the fact that he was a married man with a kid, and in his mind at least, both his wife and his kid were brutally murdered, and he was basically murdered on the scene, and he has all these memories. So when he starts to wake up, he has the flashbacks, and that fucking guitar comes in. The score's awesome, by the way. The score like, and he starts to get fucking like jacked up because he remembered what happened, and he starts to wake up from his coma, and then he has to survive. And it's honestly one of the coolest parts in Seagal's entire film repertoire, because Seagal's always used to be in the unstoppable badass, but in this scene, he couldn't move his arms or his legs barely. He was regulated to a chair, and they send these hitmen in to kill him, and he can't do shit. So he has to like get this fucking broom and push his ass around the hospital trying to escape. And it was really cool to see Steven Seagal be so vulnerable for once.
Yeah, but even when he looked vulnerable, he didn't look like he fucking beat you the shit out. Like he beat the shit out of you with his fucking teeth.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't get near him.
No,
like and he's still like, I don't know. Yeah, that might have been. I gotta go back. It's been a while since I've seen the other ones, but Yeah, that was probably, you're right. As far as like what I remember recently, as far as vulnerability, him being, I felt bad for him. Like, I mean, laying in a hospital bed, not being able to fucking move or do anything really, yeah, I mean, that would have sucked. But yeah, after that, like the guy, by the way, that plays the assassin that comes into the hospital, he's obviously a bad guy as soon as he walks in the fucking door. That guy looks like
bad guy.
He's a great bad guy, but he looks like a bad guy. Like, there's no way he passes off as a fucking doctor. That guy's Dr.
I don't know, dude, I've seen some doctors that look like assholes. And they even noticed it too. They were like, who the fuck is that guy? Because he looks like an asshole doctor.
Well,
and I don't know that asshole doctor.
Like, his face looks like a bad guy. Like, it looked like goddamn, literally he's coming in there to do bad news. And that's why that one guy was like, I'm going to follow him around because obviously something's wrong.
Of course. Could I just get your ID, please? You know, you can't have too much security.
Like, you were talking about the score, like, it's somehow, it's just not, like, I don't know, the guitar is cool, but a lot of it's just jazzy shit, and it feels like it slows it down and puts it into a different place. I like the coma part of it the best. Like, that's the part, like, he wakes up and he has to reevaluate where he is, and this is a new world that he woke up in.
And the comeback from the coma is the heart of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And the music and that part is cool, but otherwise, the jazzy shit, like, I just feel like it's just porn music.
I liked it because it felt like Lethal Weapon, like that. You know, whenever Raj and Murtaugh have a fucking, or whenever Raj and Riggs have a fucking moment together, there's always that, and I felt like they were going for that here. You kind of had that feel to it, because it was really sad. Like, if you delved into it, it's really fucking sad. The guy's whole family's been murdered in his eyes. But yeah, he escapes, and I love that scene because you got Seagal, and all he's got is a mop, and he can't even move his arms or legs barely, and he has to escape in this hospital bed. I always thought that was one of the neat little touches to Seagal's career.
And he keeps going up and down the elevators to avoid the fucking kill.
And that guy's like, he is a quintessential bad guy. Like, every time he runs into somebody, he either fucking kills them or punches them in the face. Like, he's a true dick face villain.
He's like, Storm, you little shit! I'll find you!
I'll find you! You and that little bastard son of yours.
What we find is that Steven Seagal is lucky enough to find himself in a home, in an environment surrounded by Chinese things and, like, you know, goddamn amazing murals, and it's got a home gym. I mean, it's got everything you need to come back.
So he sends her to the store to get these ancient Chinese secrets. Dear penis from Glimmerman.
Like, he started writing in a little note, and he was writing Chinese. She's like, oh, where did you learn how to do that? That's when he explains where he was from. But he's like doing it to show off. He's like, well.
Of course it's some badass.
Now you're gonna talk about yourself, Steven. Let's get into it.
I was raised in the Orient. And as a young white boy over there, I needed to learn how to fight, as you can imagine. I remember I went to my first martial arts teacher, and he says, so why do you come to me? And I say, to learn how to fight.
The montage is so fucking cool because he's putting these needles in himself, he's breathing in the smoke, he's healing, he puts a 2x4 out, and when I was a kid, that was the fucking coolest, man. He starts jogging, he starts working out.
And they also have the cool moments where they have the flashback sequences going on, so as he's remembering, he's getting stronger.
I think I tried to several times, put like a 2x4 in the ground and then like just punch it, but it hurt my hands.
You know, he's punching the board, he remembers his kid, he remembers his wife, and he's fucking punching, and then finally he breaks that motherfucker, and then the girl's like, Mason Storm. I was like, that was Steven Seagal, totally, that was his writing in that bitch.
Mason Storm.
Because anybody look at, he had his bandana, and again, it doesn't matter that he runs like a girl up that hill, even when he's fully recuperated. He's still badass. And then they have that one moment, like it looks like an oil painting when he's like standing over. He's like,
"Fuck yeah!"
See, I wasn't
Mason Storm.
Mason Storm.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the overall jazzy music that they had when he was on. You know, he was listening to music in his car. But the guitar riffs, like you're talking about, when they're doing that and he's having the flashbacks as he's punching and he's getting stronger, I'm like, dude, that gets your tits hard.
That's the heart of this movie.
Fuck, dude, I'm gonna go to the gym next week. No, I'm not. Next month, maybe next year. But it makes me feel good to look at it. But yeah, dude, like something about like those films and like Steven Seagal and Van Damme and Stallone and Schwarzenegger, that it's like the way that they're like acting in those moments and that music. There's something missing in today's modern cinema with action movies that they forgot that is what gets people fucking motivated and moving.
Exactly, and I think that this is one of those few strokes where, because to me, you've got two kinds of action heroes. You got the underdog action hero and the unstoppable action hero. Van Damme's always been great at being the underdog and having to do those training sequences. Sylvester Stallone the same, whereas Schwarzenegger and Seagal are almost always unstoppable forces. But this is that little touch of Seagal's career where he had to come back from something, and that's what makes this scene in this movie so special.
Even though I didn't like the bandana that much because he did look like a reject, like he looked like a manager for Backstreet Boys. Like
yeah,
with that
his
bandana,
style's
like,
always been
you like AJ,
up,
don't
dude.
you? But yeah.
Then he's working out and he's standing in the dojo, and eventually Kelly LeBrock's character comes in and she just walks in and she brings him a rose and he's like, "Time to fuck now, man."
That never happens. That never happens.
Instant fuck city.
And again, he doesn't care that she brought him a rose. He just is looking at that tight ass dress. It's like, I'm going to have that.
I was just passing by and I thought, might like a flower.
And he's all sweaty and shit, and he's like, "Come here." And
I always thought that. It's like, dude, you have to have mud butt right now.
They're literally, he's got swamp ass.
It's mid-workout.
He's got that swamp. There's literally a swamp ass that's going to overtake Louisiana in his butt crack.
It's a literal porn scene.
But yeah, it is. And
like, dude puts it in a girl's butt in the gym.
You have this really awkward, like, kind of fucking scene. She's got nice legs. She's got nice feet. She's got.
They zoom in on those feet. If you Google that scene, because I was like trying to get clips of the video or whatever, there's people who have taken just the scene of her kicking off her shoes,
feet people,
and like you rewound it over and over and over again.
You got a foot fetish, man. It's whatever. There's one part where she's like, yeah, I like that.
Oh, so yeah, I like
It's so weird.
And they'll say, they don't, like, look, I'm not saying that a girl or a chick that you were with wouldn't say that, but it's just, it sounds so, it feels like dubbed. It feels like she didn't even say that.
And I think it was dubbed. And it's weird because this is his wife at this time in their relationship. They're married at this point in their relationship. And in the middle of it, like, because I rewound that, because I know we've always joked about that. We're like, oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I rewound it like 6 times. And if you rewind it and you listen to it closely, what she says is total fucking gibberish. She's like, oh, you like it? No. And it doesn't even make sense.
Oh, so yeah, I like that.
Well, if you subtitle it and it says, oh, and he goes, I like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the subtitles say, but I'm telling you, if you listen closely, she goes, like it, I do.
Oh, so yeah, I like that.
It doesn't even make sense. But listen closely to that scene. I'll play it for you right here.
Oh, so yeah, I like that.
Like I do. It's crazy.
Jim Jolly, how about that? Jim Jolly.
I go false out.
Oh, so yeah, I like that.
But so they have sex, but I love it right after they have sex that they just cut to another scene and she's gone and he's just sitting in the dojo looking at himself in the mirror and looking at the ring on his finger and thinking about his wife, and he's looking at himself and he's like, you fucking disgusting.
You know what? He was looking at his ring, he was like, God, she was a way better fuck than you.
He was like, it's been 7 years, what do you want from me?
And he's been laying down, like, you know, he had so much sperm, like he could have fucking populated China by himself.
And he decides after he has the sex, he's like, now it's time.
Yep.
Now it's time to go. So he drives out. This is where he runs into O'Malley, and O'Malley embraces him.
Now,
they're really uncomfortably emotional with each
I would
other.
say, like, when I say he, he's very blank emotionally as far as like his acting prowess goes, he's actually pretty good with O'Malley. Like, I feel like he does like have like a significant kind of attachment to him as far as his acting ability goes. Like, he feels like he's a brother, and like they hug. They do that cool, like, back in the 90s, man, when you hugged a dude, it was like,
yeah, you meant that shit.
Yeah, it was slap. It was like, I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it was like,
Yeah.
it was a connecting.
Hug it out, motherfucker.
We ain't gay, but we like to hug. But they do that, and then they're walking around, they're talking, they're kind of catching up, and I love you. First off, Seagal's got the tightest fucking pants ever I've ever seen in my life.
You see his bulge the whole time.
His
husband's bulge.
His goddamn left and right ball are on opposite sides of the hemisphere, and it doesn't matter. But he's walking around with O'Malley, and they're catching up, and he's talking about, O'Malley says, hey, I raised your son. He's alive. He's under my mother's maiden name. He's at a prep school. And, I do like the fact, Seagal's like, there's no words. There's no words to thank you. And then O'Malley's like, just seeing you ugly mugs good enough for me, you old dog. Like, it was like,
O'Malley is just like the quintessential, just like, he's just like, it's like they made a man in a fucking tube.
yeah, and it doesn't matter.
O'Malley.
But again, some people would say, well, that's not very, like, it's not like the character development. It didn't matter. Like, I didn't care. Like,
I got it.
You knew they
got
were
it.
bros, and they didn't have to say much.
Yeah.
And then they're walking around the park, and they have one beer, which I always felt was funny. That, like, I like how Seagal, like, he looks like goddamn an extra from Grease. He's sitting up there with his fucking tight pants and his boots, and his feet are up like this on the bench, and he's like, they have one beer each. And then he was like, O'Malley's like, I brought you something that you might like, and he pulls his gun out with his holster. He's like, you were correct.
You were not wrong, my friend. You were not wrong.
And then you get to explore a little bit about what happened with O'Malley after Seagal went into his coma. Basically, O'Malley says, look, I tried to make the case happen. I was on it for a year and a half, but there were so many roadblocks. People kept telling me, get lost, get the fuck out of here. They were covering their tracks, and eventually they forced me to retire. And then they ran his mother off the road. She broke her fucking back. She couldn't walk again. And again, for Seagal's credit, he's like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. Like, that felt legit. Like,
That was good writing. I mean, that was good. Explain those characters, where they've been, what's been happening. For a lot of these action movies, they don't do that kind of thing. You got to give Hard to Kill credit when they explain where O'Malley's been, what's happened, the emotional depth to them. It was good.
Yeah, and I love it. And then he's like, O'Malley's like apologizing. He's like, I wish I had gone after him, and I wish I include your name or whatever, or like at least avenge you.
You did the right thing.
And he's like, because the time wasn't then. The time is now.
Yeah.
We're gonna win. And I'll tell you why. Superior attitude, superior state of mind.
And he's like, we're gonna kill them all the fuckers. And then he shoots like out of nowhere. He's like, you're just gonna shoot out in the open. He shoots all those fucking little. Dude, this is what I'm talking about.
That scene
Like
was amazing.
nobody gave a shit back then.
Every fucking one of them.
That was jacked to the tits.
I know, man. That's what
I was so psyched.
That's just like, man, go on a fucking warpath, and I'm gonna follow you till death.
Because we have a superior attitude and a superior state of mind.
Yeah. And I like how O'Malley was like,
He's like, talking about?
I thought you only had one beer.
Get down!
There is a huge action scene that takes place back at the house with Kelly LeBrock and Steven Seagal's characters, where those dudes show up again to try to stop them. That scene was really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Roadhouse at the end, where Patrick Swayze takes on everybody, but it was dumb because the end of it, Seagal and her are running away in the Jeep, and dude, there was no chance in hell they wouldn't have died. They got shot point blank with fucking like 10 dudes with machine guns, literally pumping this fucking car full of bullets, and they just drove away like it didn't matter.
Seagal had an Aikido force field.
But that would have made more fucking sense. That was a badly filmed action scene, and Seagal apparently talks shit about the director of this film. He's like, I'm surprised he knows how to put one foot in front of the other. And you actually see in this scene a little bit, it's badly filmed. There's no way they would have survived that. It's a Jeep drive away action sequence that just makes no sense. That was kind of just put in the movie because they needed another action scene. But ultimately, it ends up in O'Malley's trying to sneak his son to him, to Steven Seagal.
At a Greyhound station.
Yeah.
Some shit.
But the bad guys show up. There's a chase scene. The kid has to run away. And O'Malley gives his life.
I do like that. When he's like, I love you, Sonny.
I love you, Sonny. You fucks don't deserve to wear your badge!
So after O'Malley dies, and it's actually a sad scene, I really wish O'Malley would have lived, because O'Malley is like the best fucking friend. You know, he's like the guy.
He's like a father figure.
He does everything he can for this, and he's such a like I said, like O'Malley's like a dude in a bottle. When he's talking to the kid, he was like, "It's okay, son." He's like, even Uncle O'Malley's mitts get shaky from time to time.
He's like the guy.
I fucking love that guy.
He's like the guy that you imagine was your dad when you hate your dad.
Exactly. But he's like, hey, don't drop your hot dog. You don't want to spill that mustard.
Yeah.
I love that fucking guy. But there's a chase scene, and then Seagal fucks up a couple of the main bad guys you see there. But when he comes up, when they get him to Chinatown, and he fucks that dude, he's like, I remember you.
Dude, that was badass.
That was fucking dope.
He makes him break the same fucking hand that he did because there's scars.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, fuck!
I remember you.
I was like, Seagal!
Then he sees his son, but real quick he's just like, I love you. He's like, now go. I got one more errand to run.
Oh, dude. And when he goes to the billiards room, well, no, dude, he doesn't. He runs like this.
He's all badass. He fucks up a dude in the street. Everybody's like, what just happened? He's like, I got one more errand to run.
No, it's all lip wrist, dude. It's like.
It's true.
But no, and when he goes up there in the billiards room and he kicks the door, he's like, "What's the action, boys?" He fucks that ass up.
And you can take that to the bank.
Dude, he fucking has a full-on goddamn Aikido goddamn Seagal ponytail of death moments, and it's great.
How's the action, boys?
And then the best scene is that motherfucker that was the doctor, and he like stabs him in the fucking throat with a goddamn pool cue, and he's like, "Fuck you and die."
I'm impressed.
That's for my wife. Fuck you and die.
Yeah, he's like, that's for my wife. Now fuck you and die.
I was like,
bang!
God damn!
Yes, dude, that was awesome.
I was like, I'm gonna start saying that to you. It's like, fuck you and die.
Not just that scene, but I know we're giving Seagal's acting abilities shit here, but that scene where he's like, that's for my wife, fuck off and die, or fuck you and die. That scene had some emotion in it, and then when he takes down Dean Norris, I don't think he killed Dean Norris. It looked like he snapped his neck, but then when he drops Dean Norris is still going.
Well, no, he bends him down like this, and you can hear the crack.
But look at his face right here. Like, I'll show it to you guys. Like, Steven Seagal really does emote some fucking emotion in this scene. Like, when he chokes him out, like, you could see in his face, he fucking means it.
It wasn't me!
I also feel that Steven Seagal's ponytail and the way that his hair looks, I feel like that motherfucker's bulletproof. Like, it's so greasy, but it looks like fucking perfect. I don't know.
This movie was the debut of his ponytail.
When he was running up the steps, though, and he was looking for the senator, and by the way, he finds him in a closet, and he grabs the fucking shotgun, and I mean, it was like these teeth would be gone, like it'd be gone, and like his mouth is covered in blood, like it hurt, and dude, that scene was fucking badass either way. And he leads him downstairs, and he's like, I want to kill you so bad I can taste it.
Come on. What are you doing?
Probably the problem with a lot of Seagal movies is that he doesn't have a formidable opponent. Like, I always want these movies to end with the hero
Like
facing a guy bigger. And that's what was great about Jean-Claude's movies that Seagal's movies don't have going for him. I always wanted him to have one face-off with some guy.
He was too egotistical. Like, he would never allow it.
Yeah,
like, he would never allow it.
That was the problem. You just had this wimpy William Sadler character who tried his best. Well, he did try to fight him, but Steven Seagal just fucks him up, and the cops show up.
I still think that the opponents that Seagal faced were a little bit more, not like physically more threatening to him, more like psychologically and what they can do to him outside of the ring. Like,
Tommy Lee Jones was a pretty good formidable opponent in the knife fight.
But he kicked his ass in like 5 seconds.
He did fuck him up though, yeah.
But yeah, I always felt like it was like, maybe that's my opinion. It felt like Van Damme was always like the guy that would take on the big bully at the schoolyard.
Yeah.
And then Seagal was the guy that would take on the guy that was controlling the big bully, like the principal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's probably because Seagal had an ego problem. And you know, look, I love Seagal. I really do. Steven Seagal is like one of our favorite actors action-wise in the whole fucking world. Like, really up there. But his ego is fucking intolerable part of his personality, and I really do think that's probably, he doesn't like I think he doesn't like to lose. He doesn't like to get hit. He doesn't like they shoot shotgun blast, and I'm sure it was right. He's like, I don't go down. His wife, he looked like he gently laid on her too. He was like they were going to sleep.
I'm doing this because I want to, not because you told me.
Yeah, exactly. That's how he is. He's like a kid, but. William Sadler, again, is like, it would have been great if he had known some kind of kung fu. I don't know why he would know it, but it was a like 1990 action movie.
It was too easy of a
senator,
takedown.
I'm missed. I never miss.
And then the SWAT team storms in, and they're like, Mason, drop it! They're gonna kill him, they think, and he's holding the senator up. He's like, arrest him! He's crazy! And then the one guy, the sergeant, comes in, and he's like, we got the tape. Arrest the senator. And he's like, what? You can't do this!
Who the hell do you think you're pushing around, you pea-brain Cub Scout? Don't touch me!
Sorry, Steve.
Hands off. You're a dead man, Storm! You hear me? I promise you're not gonna get away with it!
Yes. Are you all right? I love you, Storm.
We did forget the one part where Mason Storm realizes that William Sadler's character is responsible for all this, and he's sitting in his room and he sees him coming on and he's like,
so good.
He's like, I'm gonna take you to the bank. The blood bank. That was fucking.
Dude, I rewound that part like 4 times. It was so bad, but it was so good at the same time. It's like you can't get away with that nowadays.
Hermano, you like my coche? The chick, man. How hot is it, home? Smoking.
And that's hard to kill, man. But again, we've said it for all the reasons why. For me, this movie's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Strong 8.5 out of 10. One of the better 80s, 90s action movies out there, and one of Steven Seagal's better movies because, again, I go back to the point where the whole thing where he was in a coma and his family died. It's one of the few points where you get to see Steven Seagal, at least for a little bit, be the underdog and have to overcome something. I think that's what makes this movie so special.
I'm gonna give it an 8.0. I loved it. I love the coma story. I love the idea that he has to reassimilate into a society that he's not familiar with anymore. Like he's flipping through the channels. He's like Geraldo. He's like Geraldo.
Who's this guy?
He's looking at all this stuff, and then he has to clear his name, and he's living with this burden of what happened to him, and he remembers everything. Like even Khalil Box says, "Do you remember anything?" He's like, "I remember everything." It's a cool like underdog story. It really is, and. Is it my favorite Seagal movie? Absolutely not. Like it's not even close to it, but it's still a fun movie. Like I think Seagal like does a really good job in this movie, and I think that the bad guys, at least William Sadler, is memorable. Like I don't know, like it just felt like a cool like. It just felt cool, man. Like I don't know, like the movie was fucking badass. It just felt like I have more memories of better Seagal movies like that I love and I'll watch over and over again. But I always liked this one too. And like when I was a kid, I always wanted to like. And I told Mike when we were getting ready to film this, I was like, "Is that the one with the coma one?" I like that one though when he has to come back and do things. But you kiss that dog in the mouth. I just watched him lick his dick.
I do it.
But anyhow, 8.0, 8.5. Yeah. It's a great fucking movie, guys.
Listen, we're not gonna make the ballet tonight. Take a hike. Get lost!
This is our second all-time movie. Make sure you guys please subscribe. Keep this thing going. We'll got another one coming for you next week. We're gonna do one of these deep, in-depth reviews next week. But please do us a favor. This is a brand new channel. Subscribe. Tell your mother. Tell your friends. Tell Marky Mark. Until next time,
you guys are sexual.
We're gonna take you guys to the bank. The blood bank.
You fucking assholes.
The blood bank. I said it twice for effect.
I don't think I
don't know where to go. Next week we're doing sidekicks. Chuck Norris. Fuck.
Mr. Toppling.